Hey guys, welcome back to DLC, where we talk games, music, and all things in between. I'm Isaac. That's
I'm
GCJ.
Juice. What up?
And today we're going to discuss 2023 and not the games that won Game of the Years, Game of the Year award winners such as Hi-Fi Rush or runner-ups such as, I don't know, some PlayStation games. Um, we're going to discuss games that we have played that we like,
For reference,
whether
Hi-Fi Rush didn't win Game of the Year though. But it
it won
definitely
an
won.
award.
It won
It
an
won an
award.
award.
It won an award. But hey,
That's good enough for me.
congratulations to Baldur's Gate 3. Fantastic game. People should play it if they haven't already. But
But
yeah,
yeah.
sorry.
But that being said, I saw I think like a year ago, maybe, or 2 years, Maximilian, who I watch a lot, he did his own Game of the Year awards, right? For himself. And he put Super Metroid as one of his top ones, and he was like, it's new to me. That's why I put it on this list, because it's new to me. And I was like, you know what? I feel like that's fair. So I played some games this year, past 2023, that were new to me. As you can tell, we weren't streaming as much. I wasn't really uploading content. So, I mean, I was uploading my Nintendo Power Hour, but that's about it. And it's mainly because I just want, like, I got in the mindset of I couldn't play my game unless I streamed it. And I was trying to break that habit because it prevented me from being able to complete games. Right? And it made it feel like I'm having to force myself to play it to complete it and this and so on and so forth. So I took a little break and I played some games that are not very new, and I had a ball with them. And I'm just gonna open up my
Gonna get
Steam
it
real
going.
quick.
I get you. Hey, and on my end of it, I've been trying to play games left and right that I can. Of course, I do everything, but mostly on my Xbox or my PC. And I just recently got a PS5 thanks to Brent over at Work in Progress. Love you, bro, and thank you. I promise I'll play it eventually. But and we'll be starting on that this year. But for myself, I was pretty much playing anything I could, especially when it came to the Game Pass, because we did, of course, the Wheel of Game Pass, and we do need to get that going again. More than that, though, when I'd see something new that just looks like we need to jump on it, I would. I did also play some older games, such as Monster Hunter Rise and Sunbreak when it came to the Xbox and things like that. But ultimately, the games that I was playing this year, like you said, new to me. And so we were talking about it. Ice was like, we want to talk about the games we played this year that we really liked. And I was like, yeah, we started formulating what we're going to do here. We figured we would come at y'all and give you our favorite game that we played this year, the sleeper game, the one that was like, oh wow, I didn't expect to love this as much as I did, but here we are. And that that might just as well be the same game.
Mhm.
And then the worst game we played this year. So, Isaac, we'll just kick it off with you, man.
All
Let's
right,
start with the
so
worst game. Let's just get the worst out of the way, you know. What was the
and I'm gonna get
worst
some.
game for you?
I'm gonna get some slack for this, and I don't care
Mhm.
because I do like games from this company. I've spent money to play said games from this company, and I have enjoyed them.
Okay.
Some of them. Miles Morales was the worst game I played this past year.
Wow. Okay. Did not expect. Well, you're talking older games, like okay.
So Trey bought it for me. Shout out to Trey. I enjoy Spider Man. I love Spider Man. I 100% of Spider Man. Right, and I feel like when Miles Morales was announced, I said it was DLC. I was like, this looks like DLC, and Sony's like, nah, fam. It's a game. It's its own game. I'm like, all right, whatever. I played it. I didn't like his I didn't like hi- his suits were kind of like okay. I mean, his movie suit was pretty tight. His abilities were kind of meh. His equipment, like in Spider Man, you have all these equipments you can unlock, Whereas with him, they were already set. You just level them up. And I know some will say, well, it's because he's not Peter Parker, you know, like Peter Parker's a genius. He makes all his gadgets. He's still fresh and new. And I get that, but they could have been more creative with it. I felt like I was playing with Spider-Man, I was playing a variety of different styles, I felt like. Whereas with this one, I was just going through the motions. And the side missions weren't fun for me. The story was it was okay. Like it wasn't like the Tinkerer. That's the main villain we're focusing on. The Tinkerer. Yeah. Okay. And
Spoilers for
of
anyone who
course,
hasn't played it, but let's be fair also, it's an older game, so it's you should have known
and
by
then
now, yeah.
per Sony quota, people died. You know, we gotta keep that going. Um, I
People
just felt like it
died
was
in
bland.
Miles Morales? I didn't play the game personally, so I just now got a PlayStation I'm gonna jump onto. So interestingly, I've heard that a person dies in Spider-Man 1, which I won't bring up. But I know understand it's an older game, but like still for people,
Oh yeah.
yeah. And so I didn't
So
know that people died in that one
like,
too. So it's like okay,
and I had high hopes for this game because I did like Spider Man, and I've seen a lot of people the reviews on Miles Morales saying it's an amazing game, and I was like, was it an amazing game, or was it an amazing game that utilizes SSD, and you're like, oh, there's no load times. Like, is that what y'all really liked? Was that the fact there's no load times? Because that's nice. I get it. But the story for me was
just
mid.
kind of lacking. It sounds like an
And it was
interesting.
DLC, and it was DLC. Like it was a DLC sold on a separate with a separate SKU, but it was still DLC.
So
So,
and I've had my arguments with that, and actually myself and Brent have talked about that actually just last year, about like people's opinions on that and stuff like that. I definitely see it as an expansion. I don't know about DLC as much as it's more just like an expansion to the game, which I
well, is an
guess in some,
expansion DLC?
I mean,
Expansion is
by
technically
that
DLC.
point. But a lot of people would defend that it is its own game. You still had a lot of content, you still had a lot of things that were different. So,
I
I
mean, you
mean,
can say, I mean, a lot of content that had no substance to it, but yeah, I suppose.
well, that is definitely an interesting pick, but you know what? Teach their own, of course. Speaking of which, for me, the worst game that I played this year, well, that has to go to Wild Hearts. I was very hyped for that game in 2023. I was looking forward to it. It was another Monster Hunter-esque game. You know me, man. I love Monster Hunter. EA was doing
Hmm.
it, so I was already kind of like, "Ugh," but it looked fantastic. The demo was fantastic. And getting 10 hours at the beginning for free, well, I say for free if you had the Game Pass Ultimate and stuff like that, doing the EA play, phenomenal. It was great. I want to go fight everything. Trying to get behind the weapons. It's kind of like, it wasn't very stable. It's trying to play online was terrible, and maybe it's because it didn't seem like I had enough people to play the game, you know? It didn't seem like there was a lot of people on Xbox. Maybe it's because I live in the boonies. I don't got the chance to hang out with a bunch of folk and do that and stuff, but like and it was just taxing to try and learn these different the weapons I thought I was going to get very into versus the weapon I ended up using are two completely different things. Nothing wrong with that necessarily, but I expected so much from it and I expected them to be expanding upon it. I still played it. I had a decent time with it. I want to say a fun time with it, but it was mostly solo runs. And I played Monster Hunter back in the day solo. I played Monster Hunter Freedom Unite with a group of friends when we could meet together, but ultimately I had to take myself up through the game solo, especially in G rank. And so I'm used to going solo. And there was just something about playing a Monster Hunter game solo and doing the G rank like 10, 12 years ago
You
versus
suck.
yeah, okay. But no,
Excuse
like
that still worked or not.
hey, hey. But no, like seriously, like I was just like, and then to top it all off, they finally just kind of like, we're not going to be expanding on it. We're dropping it. EA is just moving on. It's like, I'm upset. That was a waste of money. And honestly, like if you wanted more justification as to why subscription services do have a place in this day and age, because I don't want to pay $75 for a game that's going to tank like that with all the backing it had,
I mean,
you know?
Anthem was the main example of that.
Yeah, and well, and actually, I always make the argument. We can always talk about this another time, but I always make the argument that Cyberpunk, in its initial release, mind you, I respect what it's done now. I respect you, CD Project Red, and everything you've done, but your initial release is probably what really fosters subscription service because that was a terrible release, you know. So, but I digress with that. It's I mean, because we myself and Brent from Work in Progress, we've discussed it like I still respect what they did with it. A little aside to that, but as for Wild Hearts, I feel like that was my worst game of the year. I couldn't even bring myself to try and push it. Like now it's free on Game Pass apparently, and I've had some friends bring it up. I'm like, I'm not going back to that game. So I would say Wild Hearts was the game that just I said no. And I'm gonna take this time to honorable mention to like Redfall Fall and Forspoken, two games that we would say that came out and people had issues with. Now, like a lot of people are coming out of the woodworks for Forspoken though and saying that it's actually a lot better than what it seemed. And of course, there's going to be DLC for it. And then of course for Redfall, they had been working on it. It was an abysmal release. It wasn't a good game upon release, but they're apparently working on it. But honorable mentions because these are two games that neither of us played. I don't know. Did you play Redfall?
No, I hated it when it first got announced.
Okay, so and I didn't play Redfall. By the time I would have had the time, there was enough people out there telling me no, this was a terrible game, and my groups weren't going to play. It's like okay, well, I'm not going to jump into it just for the hype train. So that's my honorable mention. But I guess now the category would be, what was your favorite, like your the best game of the year?
It was so good. This game was so good. It cracked my top 3 all-time favorite games.
Oh,
And that game, Juicy J, was Liza P.
my God, I should have known though. You brought up Liza P for a while. Like, yeah, dude. Like,
And
wow.
I like Hi-Fi Rush. It's a great game. I loved it, but Liza P just like it hit that itch. Like it was how I explained it to Juice. It was like yes, it's a Soulsborne game,
Mm,
but unlike other Soulsborne games, you could tell they were trying to be a Soulsborne game. Like you could tell they were trying to be a Dark Souls, right? This game's like, no, we're taking the mechanics and the concept of it, but we're making it in our own image. And like it felt like the controls, the story, the music, dude, the visuals, the the characters, like all of it, dude. It was like for me personally the perfect game.
okay.
Like it had in Soulsborne games, they don't have an easy mode. And Liza
Mm,
P doesn't have an easy mode, but they put tools within the game to assist those that need it. And just as a prime example, this ain't spoiling nothing. Like, in Dark Souls, you could summon your friend or somebody.
yeah.
And this one, you summon a spirit. Similar to how Bloodborne was, I believe. And it was a phenomenal game. And like I said, the story and fortunately, I managed to um practically 100%. I found all the weapons. I got the good ending on my first try, which the ending, like the end credit scene, I am so hyped for the DLC coming out because they're sticking with the fairy tale genre and the DLC that they like you see at the end. I'm pumped for it.
Shoot, dude. I'm glad it's getting support. I have heard nothing but good things about that game. The only, I guess, thing that would not even bad, it's just more a point, is it's just out of time. We wish we would have had it sooner, you know? When the Soulsborne games were like really on the height and the rise, this thing could have arguably like swept at least second place if you're just going to give it to Bloodborne, you know? And it's like, I don't know.
Well,
I've heard good.
the thing is, like again to go back to a creator, Maximilian.
Hmm.
His favorite game was Bloodborne. and he even said he was like, "This is Bloodborne 2. Like if Bloodborne was made, like Bloodborne 2 was made, this would be it." And I
See,
agree because I played Bloodborne and I enjoyed that game for its aesthetic. And this game, it
chef's kiss. Oh my gosh. Well, I tell you what, that's a great one to lead into. You've been telling me to play it for some time. I've had a lot going on since like the middle of last year, so I haven't had time to sit down. I don't want to play something that's going to keep me in rapture. I like things I can pause or just kind of dip in and out of. That being said, though, I did have time to play games at the beginning of the year. You know what my number one game's going to be because I kept talking about it. I was hyped about the DLC that came out later on, and that's Hi Fi Rush. It is what it is. A Shadow Drop came from Tango Gameworks, came out the Xbox Direct in January of 2023, and it was phenomenal. It was a great game. I can't recommend it high enough for people. There are some controversies around it. People are starting to notice some things that actually Brent and myself had talked about months back. Brent especially bringing it up that people haven't really finished it on Xbox. Like we see a bunch of achievement rates and stuff, and that saddens me because guys, this game is worth it to play. You've gotten a killer soundtrack, a killer streamer soundtrack, a very smooth, cohesive Gen 9 game that doesn't. I mean, there were bugs reported apparently because they did a bunch of patches and stuff, but I would only have to learn about it after the fact. And a lot of people I talked to were the same. It's like that thing ran smooth. It was perfect. Everything
Mhm.
moves in sync. Everything is just fantastic. The characters, the just the comedy, the drama, the great freaking combos, the fun stuff. It was a fun game. It was a good game. It was a fun game. It was a great game. I loved Hi-Fi Rush, and I can't recommend it high enough. I can't wait to continue going with it. I myself, when the DLC came out, I went to try it, but I didn't keep going with it, and that I need to go back and play more of it, but it still was a good game. And I would say out of everything I played last year, that one did top the charts as I had no issues with it. I think I played it for a decent amount of time for what I'd want from a game. That's not one I have to invest a lot into, you know?
and then,
And
I mean, I liked
yeah,
one thing I liked about it is like you guys made it from Tango, right? But and it's just like I love how they're like, "Hey, we know you're waiting for the Evil Within
within,
3. So
yep.
we want you to know that we want you to know that we still think about it." And I felt good.
All of the I remember playing that and you would just hit me like, what level you on? Oh, did you see this? Like, because you were like, you knew like the freaking Easter eggs, the freaking the detective bots, and I'm just like, and I haven't played Evil Within like you have, so I'm like, okay, I played Evil Within 1, and I'm like, okay, and I mean, I missed it, and I loved it. I love the game. I think everyone should go play it. It's free on Game Pass. If you got Game Pass, that's an even bigger perk. That was a game that kicked off the year, and for the first half of the year, would arguably have been Game of the Year. We always make the joke, but it got kind of serious going into May because it's like, and everything that's come out now, it's either a remake that was decent or this.
Or The
Like,
Last of Us coming out for the fourth time.
ah, so that being said, was there a sleeper for you? Was there a sleeper game that you played that you were like, I didn't
Just
expect to? What's up?
I apologize for my trolling.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I mean, that's something that a lot of people have been saying about Sony, and that can be a topic for another time. But definitely the releases onto PC last year, just interesting. But anyway,
But
did you
to
have a
stick on
sleeper?
topic,
Yeah.
yes, and it's kind of funny how the sleeper with the name with when it has Wake in the name.
Oh,
So I started playing Alan Wake, the first one, not the remaster. I'm playing the one that was sold on Windows, right? Um, that game's phenomenal. Like I'm still playing through it, and the reason it's a sleeper for me because I know a second one came out and it won some awards or got nominated at the very least. Why I bring that up is because it came out on the 360, and my childhood friend would always tell me, "You have to play Alan Wake. You have to play Alan Wake." And I'm like, "What's the concept? Your main weapon's a flashlight." And I was like, "I'm gonna play some Call of Duty. You have fun with your flashlight." I'm gonna go drop a nuke over here. Like the 360 era was my multiplayer heavy era, and I didn't want to play anything story based. I just wanted to play strictly online. And Alan Wake was always one of those games that I will see in passing, and I'll hear people talk great things about it. But I'm like, your main weapon is a flashlight,
Mm.
and I'm mad at my friend for describing it that way because it is way more than your weapon being a flashlight.
I mean, but are there
And
any other weapons you have besides your mind,
I
I
mean,
guess?
no, I mean you find guns, and your weapon is the main weapon is your flashlight, right? But what I liked is the story because I compared it to I was telling Jacob about it because one of Jacob's movies that he really enjoyed when we were younger was Hit the Window, the Johnny Depp,
Yeah, I was
where
say
he's a
that's the
writer.
Johnny. Yeah.
And this kind of similar, like he's a writer, and basically what he's writing is coming to life. Not saying it's of that sort, but it's like psychological.
Mhm.
And like not to get too far into because maybe because with Alan Wake 2 being now, I'm sure people are like me went back to play the first one, so I don't want to say too much on it. But I also got American Horror, like I think like American Horror or something like that. It was like the DLC for it, so I'm gonna play that one when I'm done with the main game. But yeah,
Okay.
Alan Wake.
Okay. So, yeah, no, sick. That actually is pretty sick. I've been hearing nothing but good things about Alan Wake 2, and even I was a naysayer. Like, what is this game? I don't even know about this game. People were swearing it's a
You would
game of the
like the
year
music.
contender. Bro, and I gotta listen to it because I'm all about like playing a game. You know what? I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna start jumping into some of these older games, especially with the laptop now.
That
For
no, that's
me,
what I've been doing. Like I downloaded a
oh,
GameCube emulator and I've been playing GameCube games.
might as well. So for me, my sleeper game was Skull. Skull. I played so much of that. I mean, there were times y'all would get on and I'm playing it. Skull, Skul. I don't know when it released, but I played it at the beginning of this year and I fell in love with it. I had to buy the game, I think, because I think I played on Game Pass for a bit.
The
I
hell is
had
Skull?
Skull is a roguelike. It is such a good game. You are an undead little skull child. Like you have a bone.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Bro,
yeah,
I love that game where you're getting different heads and they give you different powers and
yeah.
stuff like that. Like the different skulls and stuff. There's different yeah, dude, it is a phenomenal game. I spent way too much time on it. And so it gave me similar feelings in terms of accomplishment that I haven't had for a very long time since Celeste. Celeste was a fantastic game, and then watching people play Celeste or seeing like some speedrunners and stuff of it, like on certain levels, like I go and look at them after I did levels, like, yeah, I'll never get to that level. I'll never get that good. Like, and then suddenly here I was like 50, 60 hours later in the game, let's be fair, like playing the game, doing some of these challenges, and I am that good. I'm not saying like I'm world tier here, but like you get better, you get good, you literally get good. Even when I pick up that game randomly, I'll just pick up the game randomly and I remember all my stuff. Same thing with Skull. I I played that for the first half of last year as well, and I finally beat it level 10, hardest stuff, just so I could unlock the awesome cloak at the end. It's what I wanted. It's everything I ever dreamed of because it looks so good. And it was a very fun experience, very good run. I beat it and I picked it up recently. It's just up. I was like, I might as well. I own the game. Let's go play. I jump into play. It was so fantastic. I still remember everything. It takes me a second to get back into the swing, but it's like I loved that game. For a roguelike, it is done very well. The story is great. There's going to be more to the story later. They've already kind of left it on that cliffhanger. They've already mentioned they're going to be working on it, so I can't wait for the more DLC that's just being given to everybody. It is a fantastic game, and that's my sleeper. Like I think that everyone should give it a try. So, but I think that's our three, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I
Yeah.
like to hear. It was very very good suggestion, Ice. really liked some of the games I got the chance to play last year in 2023, and that takes nothing away from many of the games that released last year, such as Spider-Man 2. And I mean, what was it? Final Fantasy 16. There were so many good games that released last year, you
This was a
know?
good year for gaming.
Yeah, yeah. It didn't seem like it was going to be, but that second half literally came in, swept it up. Tears of the Kingdom. Even I have to respect that it did so. Like, didn't hear anything bad about it, really. You know. Um, but yeah, that's good stuff, man.
Mm. I will say before we wrap up, I just want to say one thing I appreciate about Baldur's Gate 3. There's one thing I appreciate about it.
What up, man?
It proved you don't need a life service. Just make a quality game and people will go.
Oh man. I mean, there's a lot of things that proved, and a lot of conversations, hard conversations that Baldur's Gate 3 really opened the door for. So I have to say thank y'all for that. A lot of
Mhm.
things that needed to be discussed, a lot of things that needed to be brought to the open, that we needed to say what's on our minds about. The fact is, we need to start treating our developers better. We need to hold companies accountable for games they should be producing of greater quality. And that greater quality comes from the TLC, not only that you show within your product that you're giving, but also those that you hire on to make your games.
And,
So,
and just to wrap it up too, real quick, just to end it on this,
yeah, yeah.
Hi-Fi Rush showed you don't need a huge buzz to have a banger.
Phew, there we go, bro. That's how it is. That's where we are. Guys, thank
Yep.
y'all so much. Thank you for the topic. This is how we need to start it. You know where to find us, dude. Let's chat on YouTube, your social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all your podcasting platforms. If there's something you want us to talk about, leave it in the comments below. Something you want to hear from us, anything you want us to talk about, really, as long as it's not like, I guess, too political, But gaming, movies, all
Yeah.
things in between, that's what we do.
Mhm.
So hit
Anything
us up.
nerdy, guys.
Yeah, man. And look forward to more of this stuff. So,
Yeah,
hey,
we're coming back. We're coming back this year.
but I guess that's the sign off. Peace out, everyone.
Yep.